welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I am John Kovalic from DorkTower.com.
That's right. Thanks for coming back, Mr. All-Star, John Kovalic.
It's looks like I'm going to be in the front row.
Yeah. You've got
Bob Euchre reference. I think I've done it maybe every time I've been on. Except for the first two, before this All-Star stuff happened.
Wouldn't expect anything different.
Right.
Yeah. And as you pointed out, this is the first minute you've done with us where there's dialogue, or several years since.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Like, I know, I've had scenes where they've been chained up in the Coliseum, and I actually had to go into describing Star Wars board game stats for the monsters at that point.
Oh, right, yeah.
But no, it's been pretty dialogue light, so this is new for me. It's been a while, I believe. I'm not sure if I can handle it.
We would kind of ease you into it because we don't go too crazy. It's just two people talking here.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
26 starts out with we're talking about minute 26, by the way, of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Starts with Rey quietly standing in front of the cave mouth, and it ends with Luke quietly standing in front of the cave mouth.
And you see, those quiet moments are what threw me. When they started, I was like, "Oh, here we go, another one, no dialogue."
And then she talked and totally broke the spell.
I was on the floor. I had to pick myself up. It was, frankly, this is all new to me. This is new territory, guys.
Well, so here's something interesting I observed. Well, hopefully it's interesting. So Rey is approaching Luke and saying, like, she says, there's something inside me that's always been there, and now it's awakened, and I need help, and I don't know what's going on. And it's an interesting contrast to the Skywalker boys who pursued their Jedi knowledge, but it was always almost more in a kind of like Luke did it because he wanted to have adventures, and Anakin did it because he wanted to be powerful and stop people he loved from dying. Whereas Rey's just kind of like, listen, I just want to get a handle on this just so I know, like, it's it's not as ambitious or as ego driven.
It's a Xanax commercial. Or like, are you feeling like there's something inside of you all this time?
Yeah, the
whole
thing should be
include
Rey running around doing stuff, and then the narration would be saying, like, side effects they include limb loss and other other incestual feelings and things like that.
Oh.
Had to go there so early.
Well, this plays in a little bit to as much as I like this movie and all the movies that have kind of pretty much all the movies. They're
every movie
that's ever been. I like it, but there's the way that they refer to the Force, again, it's leaning more towards making it feel like, oh, it's a thing that some people have and others don't, versus a discipline that you can, or something that you can tap into that's there.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not, obviously like Rian Johnson didn't invent this. It was hammered home over the course of several sequels, but again, going back to that original feeling of the Force being kind of just like, oh, well, I want to learn the ways of the Force, not like, oh, I want to activate my ancestral Force powers. It's a different beast.
If you wish to activate your ancestral Force powers, Xanax may be for you.
Press 2.
They didn't totally go in the opposite direction next movie then. Oh boy. That would have messed things up.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
So here's a quick question.
Yes.
They don't actually mention the name Ahch-To in this movie, do they? Or is it Ahch-To, the planet, where Luke and Rey are now, currently?
Yeah.
I don't think they ever say it, do they? Because it sounds funny to say it.
Ahch-To. Yes, it does. It's like a U2 album. Ahch-To, baby.
We just put that in the merch store.
Oh, all right. So we were talking about what they don't name the planet of
Ahch-To,
Ahch-To. So
until well, this is Act 2. In Act 2, they should have named Act 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Back to Act 2.
Right.
and then everything comes together back at Planet Act 3.
Right.
On the move.
Ahch-To Brute.
Ahch-To Jaws 3.
Yeah, but I don't think we've there's a couple of planets that we don't hear them say that in the course of there's a couple of names and species that we don't hear.
Ewok, most
Ewok,
famously.
yeah.
Boy, it's as if you guys know this stuff.
Or we're just good at faking it.
Yeah. Believe me, there's a lot of people in the comments who think we do not know this stuff at all.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I do like pandemic hair Luke. It is I find that very on the nose. It's pretty darn accurate the way they portray that hair, which just goes crazy, and you don't go to a barber for like a very long time.
Long time.
It's well done.
Do you think Luke cuts his own hair? Does he have the snake nuns do it?
That's what I was gonna say. I do like the idea of Luke getting a haircut from the caretakers.
Well, I mean, he didn't have a lightsaber, so that would have been.
Oh, that's true. Oh, he does have a. I don't know if he does have a lightsaber or not.
Oh yeah, mate. Did he get rid of it because he has the green one in the flashback on? Yeah. But does he have it with him there? I don't know.
Oh, we don't know.
I mean, maybe that's when he throws it away in the last. It's like, no, I've already got one. That's okay. Thanks.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because we know he has one when he tries to kill Kylo Ren.
Yes.
So at some point he does have another green lightsaber.
Right.
That's a story for another time.
Well, I don't know that that's another. That's the original one. That's his green lightsaber.
Well, wouldn't that have been blown up in the Death Star? Or you think he picked it up before he left?
He picked it up because you see him wearing it, I think.
Oh, okay. Right. So John, you said you like his hair. Are you a fan of Hermit Luke in general? Or do you like the direction they took him? Or do you rather see a more heroic Luke?
I love this movie so much. I love The Last Jedi. I mean, this is a neat minute. I mean, one of the things I like about the movie, and this minute kind of portrays it, is you get this really lovely sense of humor that runs throughout the whole thing. After Rey's Xanax speech, she comes, she busts out, "I've seen your daily routine. You're not busy." This is hilarious.
Again, very pandemic-like.
Yes, exactly. No, I like Hermit Luke. This movie went a lot of places I did not think it was going to go, and I really loved the directions it took. There are things about it I just didn't think I would have loved, or but they were new to me. It was totally surprising. It's the first, and coming off of The Force Awakens, where everything was. I liked Force Awakens, but it was kind of rehashing, obviously, so much of New Hope and other things. There were no real surprises. And this just had so many great moments. And I just remember at that line, just laughing out loud in the theater. It's so perfectly paced, the line. It's just great. I did not realize how much I was just going to enjoy this entire movie.
It is nice seeing the jokes can be hit or miss. I think I've complained about the joke about Hux's mother.
Yeah, the stuff at the start was very heavy-handed. I enjoyed it, but they were just in the last minute, I think Luke had a really good line. I just cannot remember it, but the same kind of. Oh, that's right. It was the whole "nobody's from nowhere."
Right.
Right.
Where are you from?
That is pretty much nowhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Tatooine.
Yes. I just really had a great time from start to finish. I saw this. In fact, my wife and daughter were out of town, and I just remember.
Party! Let's go take in The Last Jedi.
Party! So, being the bachelor I suddenly found myself to be, Friday night, I realized I was not going to get through the weekend without spoilers. So I just bought a ticket for the 8 a.m. Saturday show. And it was still dark outside when I went to see the film. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like at 7:30 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed every minute of it. I loved it, and I was so excited that when Judith and Louisa came back to take them along the next day to the tickets. Well, we had already bought. We were going to go as a family, but I'm normally okay with spoilers as well. It's like, I'm not that invested. If a spoiler comes along, it's like, oh, that sounded like that would have been cool. But for some reason, for this movie, I wanted to see it spoiler free, and I'm so glad I did. There's so many, little moments I just were just so impressed by, so very impressed. When Yoda just pops up, I think I audibly gasped.
That's a good moment.
The few seconds of silence as during the holdo maneuver was amazing. Luke, and I know this is not this minute, but when you've only got 1 minute,
it's your only crack.
Yes, exactly.
You're an all-star. Take your time.
Excellent.
I was agreeing that I thought the Praetorian Guard scene is one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars, let alone in this movie. So,
right.
Oh yeah.
While there are I do have some beefs with the movie, I think there are some transcendent moments in it. So,
honestly, the Casino Planet, it drags a little bit. It's a little unnecessary for me, but that's fine. I mean, there's so much, there's so much greatness about this movie. I just absolutely, I did not think, and again, with The Force Awakens, it was just a good movie. And coming after the prequels, it's like all I wanted was just a good Star Wars movie. That was my very low baseline. And to have The Last Jedi just totally bust that wide open and just be an excellent movie, fantastic. I really enjoyed Rogue One. It was, obviously a little bit of a downer. I very much enjoyed the way the theme of sacrifice from Rogue One followed through to things like the holdo maneuver. That made a huge impact on me at the time. Even we had this little when we went to London a couple of a year or two later, we got to see Hamilton. And I don't know if you know, you probably, of course you guys know this. You're not amateurs at this. But Michael Gibson played King George III in the original London cast of Hamilton.
Who's Michael Gibson?
Michael Gibson is the shuttle pilot for Kylo Ren's shuttle.
Did not know that.
Yes, I was actually secret. You might want to bring me back for that minute.
Now I don't need to. You already gave us.
But yes, and it was actually
the beans.
Judith who pointed that out on the flight back from London. She was watching. My wife was watching on her own accord The Last Jedi on the plane, and it gets to Luke versus the whole First Order, and she's like, "Wait a second, that's King George." And it's like, yes, oh my gosh, it is.
Wow.
And he won the Olivier Award for Best Supporting Actor as well that year.
For being Kylo Ren's shuttle pilot?
Yes, exactly. Which is actually, obviously King George III is not a much larger part than Kylo Ren shuttle pilot in Hamilton, but he did it well. He did it well.
I forgot who has more songs. Is it George or is it the shuttle pilot? We'll have to go back and rewatch. We'll ask Chrysanthi. She'll know.
We need to get some British subjects on this show, because I have a feeling like virtually everyone in the movie is like, oh, that's the guy from that. Oh, like British people probably have a very different experience.
I was not in the movie, so I'm actually feeling hurt. You cannot tell from the accent. I was born in Manchester.
That I do know. You
okay?
Can you do a little bit for us? Can you slip into it?
Not unless I've been drinking. I'm terrible. It's like I've moved around all my life and many different cities, and I will pick up accents. So I'm actively fighting against the Wisconsin accent, and I will all of a sudden slip into it. But no, I cannot go back and redo accents that I have long since passed.
It's
yes.
Oh, well.
They might revoke your citizenship if they hear that.
Exactly. If they'll let me back in. But yeah.
Well, here's some.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say something, a line in this minute.
Wait, we're talking about this minute?
I know it's weird, but in the trailer, I remember it made big waves. When Luke says it's time for the Jedi to die, and also I want to compliment. I love that shot. You're right. You are correct. So let's take it again.
It's the difference.
Yeah, it's time for the Jedi to end, and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then it turned out that the whole sentence was, "It's time for the Jedi to end the resistance once and for all." So we were like, "Oh, that was he tricked us into thinking."
He just flexed his muscles.
Yeah,
it's time for
but I do also love the composition of that shot where he's like in a little hole and you just see him silhouetted. You know, it's like I really a lot of beautiful shots in these movies.
Throughout the course of this minute, how that kind of reverses, like Rey is, kind of timidly walking into the cave, and then their roles reverse, where Rey is over near the shrine and Luke is walking out, and he's near the entrance, and it's
I was going back to like college literature classes, going, "Oh, look at that! Rey's got the light behind her. Luke is in the dark." And this is an important thing. I should talk about this in a minute. And then Luke goes to the dang hole. And it's like, oh, well, there goes that theory. Yeah, scratch that one out. Okay.
Luke in the hole.
Yes.
Luke in the hole. But he does say, he says, "I will never train another generation of Jedi," which is true from a certain point of view, in that I'm just going to train one. It's not a whole generation. I'll just train one, and then that's it. I'm out.
It was very specific, certainly.
Yeah.
It's like nobody was asking him. I mean, kind of a little full of himself.
Right.
I will not form a school we will not apply for the government grants, even though I've got the forms here beside me.
It's like, yeah, no,
I don't care how nice of a building you build for me. No matter what, I will not do it.
He's like, we just needed you to just sign in to the thing was licensed under your name. We just need you to come back to the Resistance and sign in to all these things, and we'll take it over from there.
Yeah. Do you remember the password for the computer, the Jedi computer?
R2-D2's been asleep for like 10 years. Come on. We can't unlock him. But it does, again, he trained under Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan had that very precise language that's like, well, what I said was true from a certain point of view. So Luke was being like, well, I'll never train another generation. It's not a whole generation. It's just her.
Well, he doesn't train her, though. He bails on his commitment.
No, he does. He trains her a bit, right? Coming up.
Well, she may not graduate, but, nor did he.
He does.
Oh, yeah, I guess she does a little bit of the, breathe and feel the force. It's very, very light training.
Well, we'll see.
Even Yoda's training was light enough, some calisthenics and some gymnastics. Now all it is just you breathe a little bit, you're done. When
it takes us like 2 or 3 weeks to get through it, you tell me how light it is. After, come back in a couple months when we're.
I actually really like that scene.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to it. So there you go, in your face.
Whose face?
Yeah, it's a nice silhouette of him at the end where he's just sitting there about to leave.
Yeah,
and it's very well shot, this whole movie. And then of course
I'll go so far as to say it's the best looking of all of the Star Wars films.
I'll
stand by it.
I would agree with that. Going back to my daughter, we were watching
See you later.
New Hope. And she was like laughing at the special effects. And I'm looking, what? They're fine. The special effects are totally fine. And she's like, Dad, look at that. And
you're low budget and cheap.
All of a sudden, I felt like somebody defending Ray Harryhausen. The stop motion skeletons and everything. It's like I just never in my life thought of Star Wars: A New Hope as being old fashioned in the special effects departments. I
remember when I was when I went to art college, I took a film class, and they showed us The Thief of Baghdad, not the Barrymore one, is it John Barrymore? Who's the guy who did the oh my gosh, Mary Pickford and
Douglas Fairbanks?
Not the Douglas Fairbanks version. There was one that came out in the 50s and there's some stop motion stuff in it. There's some blue screen stuff in it, and he was showing it to the class, and all throughout the class people were like chuckling derisively at the movie. And the teacher like stopped, paused the film and was like, I hear you guys laughing at these special effects or whatever. And he's like, and this is when not even Lord of the Rings, this would have been 1991, so like Jurassic Park or whatever. And he's like in 30 years, you're going to look back at this Jurassic Park and be like, oh my God, it looks so fake. And, so like, grow up, look past it, appreciate what they're doing. And, so and everyone sullenly watched the rest of the movie and so on. And ironically, I think Jurassic Park is famous for kind of holding up pretty well, special effects wise. Is it? Or does it?
I this is a whole different show to talk about, but I had the distinct feeling of being disappointed in the theater at Jurassic Park.
And
so I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I have terrible eye for this kind of a thing.
But it's disheartening to know that Louisa now thinks that the special effects in Star Wars look low budget and cheap.
And obviously things like the Rancor is doesn't really hold up as top-notch animation. But
I'm really shocked that Lucas did not special editionize that. Not that I'm suggesting he do it, but it's weird because
of all the things to fix, and then not fix that.
I'm kind of I'm torn between going back and touching things up because I sort of want to go back. It's at the point where the technology becomes better. I would love it if they would go back to Rogue One and fix Grand Moff Tarkin and Leia. Just try and
it'll be like Jabba, where every release they slightly upgrade it. It's
it's kind of like the
4
Star
Jabbas
Wars.
so far.
It's like the Star Wars ride in Disney. Every new movie they'll put a new scene in or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just think something like that. The technology's got to be much better even than it was. What was it, 5 years ago? And at some point they should be able to go back and just touch up stuff like that. I mean, those are, as much as I love Rogue One, talking about this minute,
sure.
I do think that the Tarkin and Leia cameos could have come off a little bit better, and that shouldn't be too hard to fix in post in 5 years time or whatever.
I say go just total chaos, mix it up and do, go back and put 97 Jabba in as Grand Moff Tarkin.
97 Jabbas? That's a lot of Jabbas.
Hey, that's a lot of Jabbas.
97 Jabbas can't be wrong.
97 problems and a Minch ain't one.
Well, we get the we're going back to kind of ring theory, things that rhyme. Also, what did Kylo Ren say when he was first dueling with Rey in the forest? He said, "You need a teacher."
I was going to say, this sounds like a setup of a great joke.
What did Kylo Ren say to? My kids are very into telling Star Wars jokes right now, and here's one that they tell, which is, what did Han Solo say when he tasted the Wookiee cookie?
I give up. What did Han Solo say when he tasted the Wookiee cookie?
It's a little chewy. That is not what Kylo Ren said to Rey in the forest. He said, you need a teacher. And here's Luke also saying, he's like, you need a teacher. And then, but Luke says, you need a teacher. I'm not it. I can't teach you. And then he walks out. Whereas,
and then
Kylo Ren was like, you need a teacher. I'll teach you. And Luke is like, no, you need a teacher. Go find one. I'm not doing it.
Right. I do remember being very intrigued by the idea that Rey could actually team up with, become Kylo Ren's apprentice. And I was wondering if they could actually do something. The trailer definitely made you hint that could be a possibility. And but I think, for better or for worse, Rey is too iconic of a character now where they can't have her become evil because it would just.
If Hulk Hogan can turn evil, anybody can turn evil. So.
Man's name is Hulk.
Yeah,
could have seen that coming.
I think they did a very good job in all 3 of the sequels. The trailers gave very little away. You get a line from this minute, and Disney, whoever was in charge of this, is like, well done, bravo. My daughter and I, anytime a new trailer would be released, as soon as she got home from school, I would wait until she got home to watch it with her. And yeah, the misdirection is really great. In fact, we eventually just watched them knowing we would get nothing from the movies out of them at all, but they would still be tremendously cool.
Right. I love the idea of it just being completely from a different. Like, wait a minute, Robert Redford and Jane Fonda are in the next Star Wars movie? No, it was total misdirection. They were just using stuff.
That's called the Rogue One style, where where half of the scenes are not actually in the movie that you are going to show. I imagine living in a world where you only saw. Imagine you only saw the Star Wars. You saw the original trilogy, and then from that point forward, you only saw trailers. That would be like the most beautiful thing in the world, because you could the trailers are the best part, because it's just like an empty vessel for you to put, like the Phantom Menace trailer. Was there anything? Will any movie ever be as good as the Phantom Menace trailer?
I did an entire a couple pages in the Dork Tower comic book where they were watching the trailer and just being totally blown away by it. It was
it was a nerd touchstone moment.
Yeah. Or in The Force Awakens, when you first see the Star Destroyer crashed in the distance.
Yeah.
And you just see it coming on screen slowly. You don't know what it is. Like, oh my gosh. It was amazing.
I don't know. We've talked about it on this show before, John, but have you checked out those on Disney Plus? They have those, what is it called? Like Zen?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, Pete?
Right.
Those things where it's
Zenimation?
just like, I would love them to do that for Star Wars. Just shots of like spaceships slowly moving across the screen and
oh my gosh,
stuff like that would be
amazing.
Cool. So
that'd be amazing. Probably my favorite shot in all of Star Wars remains the opening of A New Hope, and you see the Tantive 4 going off in the distance, and then slowly the Star Destroyer comes on and just gets larger and more massive. And I just, boy, put that to music, and I'm re-upping my Disney Plus. That is for sure.
I want to see that shot, but I want them to just continue it to the point where you just see that like just disappear over the horizon of Tatooine. They just just disappear. That would be pretty cool too. Why don't they take our money, please?
Oh my gosh.
It'd be like the equivalent of like the from a certain point of view books, but just like stay with a shot. So instead of like doing it from a certain point of view of a character, you're just doing it from like, okay, wherever this camera's point of view is, we're just going to stay with that for a while. And like, so stick with that camera shot until everything goes and passes it and goes back to nothing.
Literally from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Like the Millennium Falcon takes off from the asteroid field. The Slave One takes off and follows it. And we're still just sitting here in the asteroid field.
It's like one of those security cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
Occasionally you'll see, a rodent, sneak past carrying something. Or
so it's not so much another point of view just as an extended, like you're just not cutting away. You're just keeping that camera going.
Right.
The director's not cut.
Yeah. Alternately, I would say it would be fun to do like iconic shots, but do them from a different angle. Like in the shot where Princess Leia is putting in the plans into R2, have that from the point of view where you see C-3PO down the hallway looking at it, or stuff like that. So, or like Darth Vader choking the guy, but from the point of view of one of those stormtroopers, watching it from the other side.
Right. Or the whole, carbon freezing, I love you, I know, but from C-3PO's point of view, where he's strapped to the back of Chewbacca and he's complaining that he can't see. So you're just like looking at the walls and the pipes and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We're an Ugnaught watching the action.
Yeah.
So cool. I love this idea. Let's do it.
I had a note about the part of Rey's dialogue here. She says, Leia sent me here with hope.
Yes.
And
she's down in the ship.
Yeah, so I looked it up. Hope is an MC-80 Star Cruiser of the New Republic. The Raddus is an MC-85. So if we back up a couple of steps, I think it's more like the ones that we see in Return of the Jedi. So
yeah,
she had a whole big ship there waiting for him.
Oh.
I know those ships were kind of the backbone of the rebellion. They were literally built on hope. So.
But yeah, so it's a good playing on that hope thing. Rebellions are built on hope, and A New Hope being the
New Hope.
Yep. Although I think they start naming ships after people who died in Rogue One. That's a lot of ships they got to get through.
Yeah.
I do like that it's called the Radis. I do think it's a neat little.
Oh, it is fantastic. You got like they only made 2 ships. One is called the Radis. The other one is called everyone else,
etc.
I'm on the USS guy with the mustache.
It's like
Radis doesn't even die in him. We don't even see Radis die in Rogue One. So
yeah, it's like one of those Kickstarter. You pledge a Kickstarter and you get your name in it. It turns out to be like the back of the page. There's like 1,000 names in tiny type.
Right.
That is the name of the ship. It's just tiny type.
It's thanks to our Patreons.
Yes,
right.
And this, here's the only other note I had was, we've now gone from whiny Luke to cranky Luke, and so the only movie where he's neither whiny nor cranky was Return of the Jedi, where he's kind of like, oh yeah, dressed in black, kick butt Luke.
Yeah. It might be he got zapped by electricity. I could see them turning him into cranky Luke.
Yeah. Well, it's a crank that generates the electricity.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how they did that.
It's secret under his robes. It's not the Force. Yeah, well, we do that. It's only a brief step, and even though even kind of Jedi Luke is a little bit, he's not. He's presenting a front, but I think deep within he's still got it. It's the Jedi. The Jedi training makes him not whiny or cranky, and then as soon as he forgoes that, he's Mr. kind of same thing,
Oh yeah,
you could just take the boy out of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get his lightsaber to stop flashing 12.
Yeah,
a lot of lightsabers.
But I would have liked to hear him whine a little bit more and not grumble. But it's okay.
Like, come on, do the line. It's like, I wanted to go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converter.
Yeah, like I don't know how I got mixed up in this whole thing. All I wanted to do was go to Tashi station to pick up some power converters. Everyone's like, "Ooh, you said it."
Tashi Station, a Star Wars story.
Someday it'll happen.
Right. So, what is the next? Is the next movie coming out Rogue Squadron? Because when Last Jedi was released, we had just gotten like 3 movies in 3 years, or we were in the middle of 3 movies in 3 years because we had Rogue One.
This will be the 3rd movie in 3 years at this point.
Right.
Okay. And then you had Solo the year after.
Not even a year. That was the problem.
Yeah.
They went out. It was like 6 months later.
Yeah. So now we're sitting here and there's like no Star Wars movies scheduled that I can think of, and I'm a little bit freaked out by this. It's like, going back, after Last Jedi, which I adored, and Solo I didn't even see in the theaters. And it's like, how can you go from just loving a movie so much to just finding another one so unnecessary? And that was a mistake on my part. We've watched Solo on the small screen and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. But we were just taking this whole thing for granted. Like there would be a Star Wars movie every year. Like there would be 2 or 3 or 4 Marvel movies every year. It's like there'll be another Star Wars movie every year for the next 20 years. I'll skip Solo on the big screen. What an idiot! What a nerf herder! What a moof milker!
It's ironic.
It was like going to Times Square to catch a subway. It's like, I missed that one. Sorry, there'll be another one in a minute. It's not,
But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's like, I think it's 2023 I saw as the release date. And that's,
That's ironic. The only thing they wanted was more Star Wars. And then they couldn't get any more.
Yeah.
We took it for granted, man. We took it all for granted.
Alex and I are looking at that date, like salivating, it's like a nice warm cozy bed. We're like, look at how far away that one is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be difficult. I mean, this whole period for you guys, all of a sudden we're having 1 or more movies release a year. That had to. I mean, well, it's job security for a start, which is great. God bless. But at the same point in time, that's a huge amount of work.
It's been a roller coaster because we started the original movies and we're like, well, once we finish these 3 movies, should we do the prequels? All right, we'll do the prequels and then we'll be done. And then
wasn't even that. Even doing Empire, we were just like, well, if we do Empire, we got to do Jedi. Do we still do it all? Like a movie, we're like, yeah, I guess so. And then next thing we know,
Man.
It's been
once the
8
money started
years.
rolling in, then
8 years.
Oh, yes. Well, that's why I became a Patreon supporter. But speaking of which, is there a way people could, support this endeavor with small monthly donations, possibly? Just
funny you
wondering.
should ask.
But no, as a proud Patreon backer of this whole endeavor, I do feel a bit guilty making you guys work so hard at this all.
Don't feel guilty.
Okay.
We don't work that hard.
It was
It's not.
No, but I mean, I was like, okay, going on, like looking at my minute on, which you've broken them all down. Which one of you breaks down the minutes and posts them? Because that's some work there.
Yeah, there's an app.
Robots.
Yeah.
There's an app?
There's an app for that.
Oh my God.
If I don't know that we would have done the show to begin with if I hadn't found an app for the Mac called Split Fuse, which you just drag in a clip and you say, okay, 1 minute chunks, and it sits there and does its thing for 12 hours or whatever, and then it's like, all right, here you go.
Oh my! And you see, I thought my Patreon money was going directly to one of you two slaving minute by minute at this thing.
Well, the app does cost $13 a day to use, so it really does. It does run up a
It's
price.
fueled on, but we just have to throw dollar bills in there to keep the furnace running.
I literally had no idea. I assumed. And this is funny because I assumed Pete was doing it. No,
sitting there with a
no
stopwatch.
disrespect to Alex, but I could not see Alex doing this. It's like, oh yeah, Pete's.
I don't think
it's still true. I am doing it, but it's but there's an app for it.
Yeah, I've learned very early on to become dependent on other people who are much more better at technology than me, or at least are willing to learn. So that's the difference.
Excellent.
Well, on that note, unless we had anything else stacked in. I don't know what I mean. Anything else for this minute?
I just go right back and watch this again. I've seen this probably as many times as I've seen A New Hope.
Wow!
And
whoa!
I hadn't seen this. I hadn't seen it. I seriously, I just loved it. I probably caught it 4 or 5 times in the theater. Which going back to Teenage Me and New Hope doesn't seem like a lot, but it's certainly the most I've seen a movie in theaters since probably 1990. And
that's true. I haven't seen many multiple viewings in the theater.
Yeah. But this is
Star Wars movies
better and better every time. So I think we do popcorn pizza movie night on Fridays as a family. So I think this is going to be my selection next time it runs around to me.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Great. We get a little taste of that. Nice.
And then if nobody's for it, you can blame us. Be like, oh, these guys, I had to do it for they needed me to watch it.
And like I said, my wife, I was stunned. She watched it on the plane after seeing it in the theaters. And if it hadn't been for that, we never would have found out about King George III.
Or Hamilton, for that matter.
That's you were like, we got to see that guy in something.
I'm not throwing away my shot first.
I'm
not throwing away my shot first. I don't know.
We'll workshop it.
Workshop it.
Well, as John mentioned, we do have a Patreon that if you want to support the show, you want to keep us doing this for the rest of our natural lives, why not go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon. And there you can, if you support us at different levels, you get different things. We do a weekend show, at least one weekend show every weekend. And we throw other bonus stuff in there. And at higher levels, you can even get cool prints by Alex and all kinds of other fun stuff. So go there, check it out. And then hopefully we'll meet you back here for another All-Star Minute of Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Minute.